So now we want the check input function to repeatedly take input from the user, right? So if we look at our program here and I run it, then I type in a question, or maybe let's say I do empty string, right? It's going to say, do you want to ask another question? Right? What it should say is all questions have a question mark. Enter your question again, right? Enter your question again, enter your question again. This right here should repeat until they enter in a valid question, and then it should move on. Then it should say yes, no, or maybe, and then move on to ask another question. The same thing here for the yes or no, right? If I type in dog and I hit enter, it should say error message, would you like to ask another question? And so it should force the user to continually prompt the user for the input until they enter an input that you want them to enter in, right? So that's what we're going to do now. And to get that done, we would come up here, and this is what we want to repeat again and again and again. We want to repeat the taking in of the question, or the yes or no, and the check, right? Question, check, question, check, question, check. And the only way to exit the repeating of the question, check is returning, right? And that's fine because we have a return on this first branch of the if statement, and it returns when the question is valid. And we do have a return here when they ask yes, when they answer in yes or no. And when is it? It's if they answered yes or they answered no, then we're returning. And we're getting out of the loop. We're getting out of the function. We're going back to main, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and try that, right? Right here, we're going to have a while. And we want this while loop to run indefinitely. So we want to say true. We want all of this to be inside of it. And you know what? I think that's going to be solving the issue, right? So let's go ahead and try running it. And so here, I'm going to type in nothing. Whoa, that's not good. Okay, a little temperamental. Let's see. Oh, right, the input. So what's happening is it's taking in the input. I enter an empty string. Questions equal to empty string. It comes in here, which is equal to Q. That's true, and this is true. So it prints out all questions need to have a question mark. That ends this block, which ends this if-else branch, which comes back up into the while loop, and then it checks. And it prints all questions have a question mark. All questions have a question mark. All questions have a question mark repeatedly forever. That's not good, right? So what's missing is the input needs to be inside of the while loop. So it is input check, input check, input check. So every iteration of the while loop, you have the possibility of going back to main here and here, right? So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. I do empty string. All questions have a question mark. I do a question with no question mark. You must enter a question, right? Oh, I think that's reversed, isn't it? I do empty string. Yeah, these are reversed here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, paste it right there, and then cut that out and paste it right there. And then, yeah, so let's go ahead and maybe do that. Must enter a question. And then I say, will I fall in love this year, right? And I do a question mark and I hit enter. Now the first check should pass, right? The second check should pass, and it should now return question to main, which takes me back here. And now question is equal to the question. And then it goes to ask, and it prints out yes, no, or maybe. So I'm going to hit enter. And it says maybe, and would you like another question, right? Now here, it follows the same algorithm, right? Because we're stuck here in this while loop. So I'm going to hit empty string. You must enter yes or no. I type in dog. You must enter yes or no, right? And then I do yes, and I hit enter. And entering yes returns true, which drops me back here, and again is equal to true. Comes back up into the while loop, while true, and it goes again, right? And that's what I have here at the bottom, right? So I ask my question or whatnot, and it follows the same algorithm, right? So maybe I could do this, and then I type in no, and that's going to return false and get me out of the game. So now we have more of a normal functioning program, but we are going to, take baby steps to create a more complicated version of Magic 8 Ball.